There are moments in life where everything seems normal, even if you know deep down that it's not. I've always thought I could tell the difference between reality and my imagination, that I could separate the two with clarity. But now, I don't know what's real anymore. My name is Clara. I've always been the kind of person who dismissed horror stories, the one who would roll my eyes at ghost stories around the campfire, or laugh off unexplained occurrences as coincidence. That was before I moved into this apartment. I remember when I first saw the ad, spacious one-bedroom in the heart of the city, affordable rent. I needed a fresh start, away from the bustling noise of roommates and shared spaces. I'd been feeling the weight of stress and loneliness from work, and this apartment promised solitude, a place where I could finally breathe. The building itself was old, worn, but it had a charm to it. The floors creaked underfoot, the walls were thin, but it felt like home. At least, it did at first. The oddities started small. Nothing that would make you panic, but enough to make you stop and wonder. I would leave the apartment for hours, only to return and find things slightly out of place. A mug moved from the counter, the rug askew. Little things, easy to dismiss. Maybe I was just absent-minded, but that wasn't the worst of it. It started with the sounds, the whispers. They weren't loud at first, but they were persistent. Soft, murmuring voices that seemed to slither into the silence of my apartment when I was alone. It was almost like the walls themselves were speaking, breathing, shifting. I tried to ignore it, to explain it away. Maybe it was the neighbors, the pipes, or the building settling. But the sounds grew louder, and then they started calling my name. Soft at first, but unmistakable. Clara. I froze the first time I heard it, heart pounding in my chest. I stood still, staring into the dim room, waiting for something, anything to explain it, but nothing did. The whispers died away, leaving me with nothing but a sense of dread, gnawing at my insides. The first time I saw it was the moment I truly began to understand that something was wrong. I was in the kitchen, washing dishes, when a reflection caught my eye. At first, I thought it was just my tired face in the window above the sink, but then I saw it, a dark figure standing behind me, watching me. It wasn't my reflection, though. It was too tall, too distorted, a silhouette that seemed to shift unnaturally with the dim light. I whipped around, but there was nothing there. My breath hitched in my throat, and I felt the blood drain from my face. I turned back to the sink, my hands trembling as I tried to steady myself. It was just my imagination. It had to be, but it wasn't. The whispers came again, this time louder, more insistent, as though the walls themselves were pressing in on me. They echoed from every corner, seeping into my thoughts, twisting them into something unrecognizable. "Clara," they hissed. "Come closer." And then I noticed the marks. I found them one evening when I was cleaning. Small, dark scratches along the edges of the walls, as though something had scraped against them, sharp claws leaving their mark. I traced them with my fingers, feeling the jagged edges, the coldness seeping through the wallpaper. I couldn't breathe. Something was wrong. Something was watching me. The longer I stayed in this apartment, the more I felt it. The presence. It wasn't just the noises or the scratches. It was in the air, thick and suffocating. The apartment wasn't just old. It was alive. I tried to leave, to run, but every time I reached the door, the room felt smaller, the air colder. The door wouldn't open. The lock jammed, refusing to budge no matter how hard I pulled. Panic settled in my chest, tight and suffocating. I ran to the window, desperate to escape, but it was the same. The street below seemed a distant memory, as if I were seeing it through a fog. The apartment had swallowed me whole, and I couldn't escape. That's when I saw it again, the figure. It wasn't in the reflection this time. It stood before me, just beyond the doorway, tall, impossibly thin. Its limbs stretched unnaturally long. Its face was obscured, a shadow of shifting shapes, but I could feel its eyes on me, the cold, suffocating eyes that seemed to pierce into my very soul. "Clara," it whispered, its voice slithering into my mind like a poison. "You were always meant to be here." I wanted to scream, but my throat felt tight, as if the very air in the room was choking me. My hands trembled as I reached for the door, but the figure stepped forward, blocking my way. The walls groaned around me, their strange, hollow sounds vibrating through my bones. The lights flickered, casting long, distorted shadows. I couldn't move. My body was paralyzed with fear, every nerve screaming to run, but my legs wouldn't obey. Then I heard it, a soft, almost tender voice, but it wasn't the thing standing in front of me. It came from the walls, from the very floor beneath me, as if the apartment itself had a voice. "You have nowhere to go. You're already here." The walls shifted, as though they were closing in, bending toward me. The apartment had been built for something else, something ancient, and I had stepped into its trap. It all came crashing down then, the realization that the apartment was never meant to be my home. It had been waiting, watching, waiting for someone like me to find it, to move in, to become part of its history. The markings on the walls, the whispers in the dark, the things in the corners, all part of a twisted ritual, a cycle of souls trapped within its frame. I stumbled backward, my legs giving out beneath me. The figure moved toward me slowly, its body bending unnaturally, the shadows shifting around it like smoke. Its voice was a hiss, more a growl than anything human. "You're mine now, Clara. You always were." And as it reached out toward me, I understood. The apartment didn't just trap people, it consumed them. It didn't let go. The last thing I remember was the cold touch of the walls pressing against me, the dark figure bending down, its face close enough that I could feel the rot in its breath. Then everything went dark. When I woke, I wasn't in my body anymore. I was in the walls, part of them, a twisted reflection of the person I once was. And I could feel the next one coming, another lost soul walking into the trap. And I whispered the same words the walls had whispered to me. "You're mine now." If the shadows in this story crept under your skin, don't wait. Hit that subscribe button and join the NoSleep Tales family. Trust me, you won't want to miss the next story that will keep you awake in the darkest hours. Hit the bell to stay notified and leave your thoughts in the comments. What's lurking in your own corners? Share this tale with someone brave enough to face the darkness. And remember, the terror doesn't end here. It's just getting started.